And we're back with more on News Talk Saga 960 on this Thursday, April the 9th. Ross Mclean joining us, security expert, bodyguard to the billionaires, law enforcement, former law enforcement. Always great having Ross on the show. Welcome, sir.
Mark, we're really glad to join you. I just want to know, do I have to do a land acknowledgement before we start?
Would you mind? Yeah, I'd really appreciate it if you did one. You're home right now, right?
Yeah, I am. I'm standing on this God-given earth that he's allowed me to walk upon, not the government or anybody else.
Not your house, though. Don't forget that. That belongs to some Indian who took a dump on that property 200 years ago.
And then I want to know, do I have to do a genital acknowledgement as to what my genitals are before we come and we talk about something? Does that make a difference before I can talk?
We don't want you acknowledging any organs of one type or another. We could talk about all kinds of things, though. You want to talk about the Minister of Defense hiring a trainer and basketball coach for a top security position? Was that one of a confirmed conflict? What is that about?
Yeah, our Deputy Minister of Defense, I believe, hired a basketball coach and a fitness trainer from someplace because they needed a job and they were a friend. And this person eventually got into a very high security clearance job. So think about that. Our Deputy Minister of Defense is just hiring a trainer and giving them top security clearance to look into what our Defense Department does at a very, very high and secret level. Like, where on earth does anybody think that is a good idea? Where on earth does anybody think that makes our Defense Department look like it's ridiculous? I mean, right now, I guess as we're doing this one, Mark, Pete Hegseth and the FBI down in the States are prosecuting a woman who is leaking information to the media from within inside the Defense Department on the Iranian war movements that were going on. So here you've got someone who thinks, hoity-toity, I can just take anybody, give them top secret clearance and put them in our Defense Department, where you want to have capable, ethical people who have a standard that they are willing to die by and that they're willing to let you die by if they put you out somewhere. But lo and behold, it's worth what it is to give a job to a friend. I just find that repulsive. I really do.
Of course, though, isn't it? I mean, these liberals, it's like, ethical concerns just do not trouble them at all. And you know what? I understand why. Because there was just one ethical violation after another when Blackface was prime minister. Well, I mean, did he ever get in any real trouble for those? No. I mean, not really. I mean, yeah, after all, people's eyes glaze over. The only thing the liberals care about is police investigations. Now, that they do not want. And that's why they bought off the police and the media. They bought off the media to go after Pierre Poilievre, to destroy Pierre Poilievre, and leave them alone to loot the treasury. I posted that earlier, and I firmly believe it. So they own the cops. The liberals do. The liberals are, of course, the most powerful criminal organization in the country. They own the cops and they own the media, and they got judges in their pockets. I mean, this is truly something to behold. These guys are solidly in control. And that's why I'm hearing from so many Canadians who want to get the hell out of Canada. They really do. But, looks like Carney has his majority now. I mean, this whole thing around Marilyn Gladue, he was asked about it, why it is that he took in Marilyn, who's a social conservative, like a big-time social conservative, pro-life, probably anti-euthanasia. Let's listen.
Given your values, aren't you uncomfortable with it?
You know what? Let's not listen to the French translation, because I'm sure that he said it in English at some point. I don't want to listen to him say it in English. But, there's this other thing. So I don't mean to bounce around as much as I am. But can you repeat this? Listen.
to deal with the ongoing genocide of MMIW G2SLGBTQIA+.
Did you get that, Ross?
No. Why did you speed that up so fast? It was so hard for me to get it there, Mark.
I didn't speed it up, my friend. I said it that quickly. Listen again. Listen carefully.
Ongoing genocide of MMIW G2SLGBTQIA+.
Hold on. I am missing a genocide somewhere, am I?
Oh my God.
Is that what she said? This is a genocide, right? A genocide. Like, everybody is so unhinged these days. But, the scary part with Marc Carney is, and I got to tell you, I like Pierre Poilievre. I like Pierre Poilievre when he's at his best. I don't think he always is. He gives me problems sometimes. But he said recently about Marc Carney, he said, if he can't even enunciate the liberal position against the Uyghurs and slavery and forced labor, he said, if he can't have the courage to say he's against that, what does he have the courage to say he's against? I mean, there's not really anything much further on the scale that you can go. And he's quite literally willing to accept anything so long as it brings power and money into his arms. He will accept anybody or anything. He does not care. And that's whose moral values are leading this country. And I will tell you, and all of your listeners, Mark, and all of my followers who have even the hint of wisdom know that that is the path to ruin. That will never work out good. You may be sitting with your, Philip Champagne, maybe drinking his champagne now with his wife with the new job he got her, and Carney may be drinking his expensive wines, but there will be a price to pay. And maybe it'll be Canadians that end up paying it in the end. But hopefully what goes around will come around. That's not a winning formula, Mark. It is not.
No, it certainly is not. I think I have an English version. Let's listen to this. I think this is English, but let's listen to the question.
Abortion. Ms. Gladue is also pro-convoy. She supported the truckers, something you are very publicly against. She's a vaccine skeptic. She promoted the idea of using hydrochloroquine instead of vaccines. She was also so against legalized marijuana, she stood up and read a poem in the House of Commons. So I'm wondering if Ms. Gladue's views represent the views of the Liberal Party under your leadership.
Thank you for your question. We've ran on a clear platform, clear values, defending the Charters of Rights and Freedoms, defending the right of women to choose, defending same-sex marriage, anti-conversion therapy, to save you asking that question. These are serious points. And people who are joining the Liberal Party at this critical time and supporting us, when I say people, I mean MPs, recognize those clear policy positions, those values. That's where we will go. That's what we will support. That's what we will advance.
Okay, here's the problem. Now he's got these lefties in his caucus who want nothing to do with Marilyn Gladue. They don't want to be in the same room as Marilyn Gladue. And she's going to get real uncomfortable in there. They're uncomfortable. The only good thing out of all of this, I think, Ross, is some of those New Democrats who parked their votes with the Liberals because of all that, the terrible policies of the last leader, the previous leader, Jagmeet Singh. They're going to go back home under Avi Lewis. They're going to go back. And so these guys are going to see their poll numbers start sinking as those far lefties in the Marc Carney caucus realize that this guy certainly is not the lefty that maybe we thought he was. Because right now I think he's tried to be all things to all people. And that's what he's convinced all these people. Like, for instance, Lisa Raitt came out and here's her at CTV. Let's listen to this one, Ross. I want you to check this out.
I have this vision in my head of Marc Carney as the Pied Piper, right? He's got the flute and he's whistling all these people across. But in reality, don't forget, the Pied Piper, he attracted rats.
You know what I really love about that clip is the silence after she says rats. I really love that. Listen.
He attracted rats.
All this dead air on CT.
Well, Mark,
nobody knows what to say. Yeah,
Mark, Mark, that really ticks me. That really ticks me off for saying that, because I didn't think of that line first. That's a great line, but that's also my point. I think you are right. I know some people who are pretty credible political prognosticators, and they are saying that you might see the NDP come back from the dead now after what was, there was no resurrection of what's his name? They were saying who just left. And they are going to start to move to that party. And that could shave 5 to 7 to maybe 9 points off the Liberals' lead. And then they're going to start to care about it. My only problem is, how much money does it take to those lefties say, okay, your values are my values, right? I mean, look at what Philippe Champagne's wife is getting a great job.
Yeah, I'm glad
they've given out 100. Yeah, and that's just,
Go ahead.
Let me tell you something.
Yep.
Everybody understands really natural law. They know that when you're in charge of something, to go fill your own pockets and your partners and your friends' pockets out of the communal thing, everybody knows that that's wrong, right? That's not a good thing to do. But unfortunately, with our government, we have a, quote, ethics, and I want to gag when I say that more than the MGWP, PT, whatever thing, right? We have somebody that calls themselves an ethics commissioner with loopholes so big. I mean, literally, they changed the definition of a conflict of interest from if it's just a perceived conflict of interest, that's okay. It has to be an actual conflict of interest. But the problem is nobody investigates actual conflicts of interest. So what we have here is we have a whole conglomeration of government people, wives, friends, and families, lobbyists who can go around and do all kinds of deals at will. And it doesn't break the rules because the rules are basically amoral the way they've put them together. If Carney was to turn around and let's say Philippe got busted for giving $1 billion to his wife, you know what his fine is for that? I think it's upwards of almost $3,000 is the maximum, Mark.
That's it?
Think of that. Think of that.
Wow.
Think of that.
It's ridiculous.
Steal. No one investigates anyways. If they do, you don't really get much of a fine or much of a problem at all. And I think our country has come to such a point of hubris. You can have someone like Carney up there and say, as he said about Champagne's wife, oh, I think it's good that his spouse can work. Oh, it's good she can work. Of course, Mark's wife is working with a group that gets millions and millions and millions of dollars from his government too, right? Oh, it's good that Mark's wife can work. What about everybody else's wife? What about everybody else's kids? That's taxpayers' money that are going to them. So while it may meet the rules, as Mark Carney liked to talk about the rules-based order, the rules are crap, Mark. And I don't think that the public understands how crappy they really are. I think they're going to in the next little while when the government starts coming for more and more and more and more to pay themselves and pay their friends. I think they will just see how bad the rules are. But by then it may be too late.
I got to ask you about this as well, because I know you like keeping an eye on the state of the economy. And Table Salt posted something today. Ontario has become a have-not province. GDP per capita tanks, now almost half of that of New York State, according to the Fraser Institute. Probably just need 2 million more immigrants in that puppy. Obviously, they're being facetious there. But, I mean, you and I have been around for a while. I mean, the idea that Ontario would be a have-not province is stunning to me. I mean, I got to ask Jocelyn about this because I always thought of Ontario as an economic powerhouse, really the economic engine of the country. And to have reached the point where now you can lump us in with the likes of, well, and I don't mean to, be unkind to Newfoundlanders or Nova Scotians where I lived for many years, or New Brunswick, but, those are provinces that rely on transfers federal transfers to pay the bills and buy the groceries out there. And so for us to be lumped in there, I mean, who's paying in? Alberta, that's it. Maybe Saskatchewan, I guess they still put money in, or maybe, they're kind of in the middle there between receiving and getting and putting in. But to me, that's an eye opener. Ontario, have-not province.
Well, yeah, I just heard today someone discussing on the radio that the UK, which, by the way, they're a precursor of us, because Marc Carney was over there and undersaw the demise of the UK. Apparently, this month, the UK, all of the money that they owe for their welfare state, that they pay out for old age pensions, health care, all the sort of welfare type benefits they give out, now exceeds, for the first time in their history, exceeds the amount of money they bring in for income tax. First time. So where is that going? It's not getting any better. And Mark, when I got
they tanked their
Mark, when I got my
go ahead.
Yeah, I think they have done it on purpose. But listen, as I've said before, and you introduced me so there, I used to be a bodyguard for billionaires, and I got to ride around in cars and talk a lot to them. Ken Thompson was one of my favorites. At the time, he was the 9th richest person in the world. And he'd sit up front with me, and we'd get to talk, and we'd get into some things, and I would learn a thing or two. And when I did my business degree, I remember the first sentence I read in my economics book was that capital flees at the first sign of danger. It flees. And that's what's happened to Canada. All the money has fled. And it started back when they froze those bank accounts back during the convoy. I am telling you, I know all kinds of people who moved money out of Canadian accounts and put them in U.S. accounts. And we're talking billions of dollars left Canada at that time because people were worried their money would be frozen. And what everybody's looking at now is a government that prints money like it's going out of style and is not making any money. So capital looks at that and says, holy crap, I better get out of here. And money does not come in. And if money doesn't come in, you can't build, you can't have a GDP, you can't make money. All you can do is play at it and try and make the numbers look like they're doing something, Mark. And we are, as you pointed out there, we're in real trouble right now. Real trouble.
Well, I got you on the line. I've got to ask you as well. Another story I've been kind of looking at is Elon Musk supports Alberta independence, or appears to. I mean, I don't know if you noticed this, but he actually responded to a post by a guy named Dave Parker, who's a big-time supporter and advocate for Alberta independence. And basically what happened was he is weighing in on, first of all, that video that I played for you earlier, but the lady with the MMIWG blah, 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 the Saleha Gazan of Winnipeg, he says Canada is cooked. Then in response, so one of these supporters for Alberta independence responded by saying, yeah, and Alberta's got to get out in order to, basically save itself kind of deal. And then he said, yeah. So he's certainly aware of Alberta independence. I think America is aware of Alberta independence. And I'm not sure that Canadians are going to be able to stop this thing from happening. What do you think?
Well, let me tell you about guys like Elon Musk. How much money does he have? Is he like the first trillionaire? Is he
800 billion, I think, something
okay.
Like that.
Yeah. So guess what's a big problem of yours when you got that much money is where do you put it so you don't lose it, right?
Yeah.
Believe it or not, that's a huge problem. I would talk to the finance people for some of the billionaires that I protected, and they said that's the biggest problem. When you've got that much money, where do you put it so you don't lose it? And typically, they would look at real estate or something real. That's why it's called real estate. It's ground, right? Or gold. Gold is real. Well, guess what else is real? Oil is real. It's something that's real. So billionaires and everybody know that that's what the world really runs on. What do you have that's real that will always be worth something? And oil is one of those things. And if you go Google one of those maps of where all the oil reserves are, the most of them are around the world, you look at it, you're going to find that's where all the money is. That's where all the fighting is. That's where everything is, because the whole world, whether the greenies like it or not, the elbow's up, they're doing it for a reason. The whole world runs on oil. You can't do heavy production manufacturing. You can't run cars. You can't run buses. You can't heat homes. You can't have industry. You can't have ships. You can't live a modern world life without oil. So if I can constrict your oil going into you, it's just like standing on your windpipe as an economy. I can take the money out of you, right? And that's what's going on right now. Alberta has got something real. They've got real oil right between their borders going into the U.S. The rest of Canada doesn't have a whole lot of real. The farmers do, but they're treating the farmers like crap, right? But industry has fled. Yep. Real industry has fled.
Yep.
And it's a problem. It really, really worries me for the people coming after. For everybody who's the age of 2 months old right now till about the age of 30, they haven't had a chance to get their lives going, Yeah. And if you miss certain steps in your lives, sometimes you can't make those steps up, Mark. Sometimes you can't make them up. Maybe you'll be a renter the whole rest of your life,
I've had so many people ask me how to get the hell out of Canada. It's sad. How do people access your content and watch you online?
Yeah, best place is catch me over on either my X account, Mclean Chronicles, and I do have pinned there a video that I did that's closing in on 27,000 views right now that I did on the Marc Carney and his conflicts. And over on my YouTube channel at Mclean Chronicles as well there too. They can find some of my videos, and I'll be getting new ones coming up, Mark. So
fantastic.
I look forward to seeing and hearing from some of the listeners.
Thank you so much for coming on the show, Ross. Appreciate you. Ross.
Thanks, Mark. Appreciate it, brother.
Quick break. Back with more on News Talk, Saga 960 and the Marc Patrone Show. We'll see you on the flip side.